The video is finally here. We teased it on stream last night. Everybody that's been following me, everybody that's been tuning into the streams on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, I appreciate you. It's finally here. We're going to be looking at UFC fighters that need to be studied. If you're confused, man, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll understand as we go. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the thumbnail, bro. ChatGPT kind of cooked me up a thumbnail. I was trying to build Dricus Du Plessis with plot armor. We got him a breastplate. Anyways, enough yapping. Let's go ahead and get into the first fighter, which happens to be Dricus Du Plessis. Dricus Du Plessis needs a scan, bro. He needs a full body scan, not just a brain scan. They need to truly analyze this fighter because if you were to show Dricus Du Plessis highlights to a non-UFC fan, there's no chance they would think they're a world champion. This man's striking looks goofy. His wrestling looks goofy. Everything that he does looks goofy, bro. He doesn't even look like he has a good gas tank. He looks like he's tired all the time before the fight even starts. He looks super sloppy on the feet. He just does not look like a professional MMA fighter yet. Dricus Du Plessis, as you can see from the picture, is a UFC world champion. This man needs to be studied, bro. I know we see jokes all the time. Dricus Du Plessis has plot armor. He does. He very much has plot armor, bro. The plot armor needs to be studied, especially if this man takes out Khamzat Chimaev. Seriously, if this man takes out Khamzat Chimaev, I don't want USADA going after him. I want everybody. I want the CIA going after this man because something's up. If he defeats Khamzat Chimaev, bro, something's up, bro. I'm not buying it. It's fishy. It's fishy. The plot armor is real. We know Dricus Du Plessis belongs to the plot armor. He's part of one of the best bases in MMA. But, bro, they got to do an investigation on this man, bro. I'm not buying it, dude. I'm not buying it. How in the world is this man a world champion? How has he beat Sean Strickland twice, Robert Whittaker, Israel Adesanya, and then potentially Khamzat Chimaev? I'm serious. If he beats Khamzat Chimaev, we need to have some real discussions. We need to sit down and have a long conversation about Dricus Du Plessis. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm seeing comments. Dricus Du Plessis by falling piano. Dricus Du Plessis, Looney Tunes jumping over a Khamzat Chimaev takedown, bro. Dricus Du Plessis painting a tunnel on the wall and Khamzat Chimaev running into it. I've seen some saying Khamzat submits Dricus in one round just to find out the real Dricus is standing right behind him. And he's right behind me, isn't he? Dricus Du Plessis, bro, needs to be investigated ASAP. ASAP. And now the UFC is kind of pushing a Dricus Du Plessis 2.0. We're going to get into him in a minute. But Dricus, bro, if this man continues to win, he could potentially become the middleweight GOAT. He's not passing Anderson Silva right now. But if he beats Khamzat Chimaev, I'll be happy to put him too. Not necessarily happy because Izzy's my favorite fighter, but I'll put him too. I'm not mad if you think Dricus Du Plessis is the second greatest middleweight on the planet in UFC history if he takes out Khamzat Chimaev. Now, how is he doing it? I don't know. The man is really good. He's very goofy. He's very awkward. Maybe that's part of the reason that he is so good. He's hard to figure out. He's kind of a jigsaw puzzle out there. But yeah, they got to bring this man into a lab. He might have been built into a lab. Dricus Du Plessis looks like an experiment gone wrong. Well, at least they thought that it went wrong, and this man happens to be the GOAT. But let's move on to Dricus Du Plessis 2.0. Guys, this fight needs to happen. The Riddler versus Dricus Du Plessis needs to happen in the future, bro. It's got to happen. Reinier de Ridder just took out Bo Nickel, which is not the same level of taking out Whittaker, Adesanya, Strickland. None of that. Definitely not even close to Khamzat Chimaev. But Bo Nickel, solid prospect, and Reinier the Riddler just made him look like a can, bro. I get that Bo Nickel very new to the sport. This is not even a bad loss for Bo Nickel. This is like his 7th, maybe 8th professional UFC fight, or professional MMA fight. It's fine that he took the loss, bro. It's not a fraud check because, man, I don't know. The Riddler might be a future champion, bro. Tell me this is not a super fight down the road. Plot armor versus plot armor. Dricus Du Plessis versus the Riddler. They can make a whole UFC meme card, bro. The Riddler versus Dricus Du Plessis could do numbers, bro. The memes would be hilarious. We should just let them fight to the death. They can bring all the props that they want, bro. DDP versus RDR, man. Throw RDR out the window. I don't want to hear that nickname. I want to hear this man go by the Riddler. I don't know if that's his real nickname or not, but the Riddler kind of sticks, bro. I want to see this man walking out to the octagon in a full-on Riddler costume from Batman. I'm 100% convinced that RDR and Dricus Du Plessis were bred in the same lab, bro. You cannot change my mind. You cannot tell me otherwise. They're both Dutchmen. Even RDR was calling out Sean Strickland. They have some sort of plan going on over there. I don't know what it is. They're not from the exact same parts, but something with the Dutch, bro. They have some laboratory or something. They have a whole path to victory because they both want to fight Strickland. And Strickland's one of the hardest fights in the division. But somehow these Dutchmen have a way to beat Sean Strickland by oopsie daisy. I don't know, bro. I don't know. They have serious plot armor. They need to be investigated immediately. But yeah, enough of that. Dricus Du Plessis, RDR, the Riddler, they're in the same boat. But let's move on to the next one. Let's go for that. Jiri Prochazka, my second favorite fighter in all of the UFC. This man maybe needs to be studied for different reasons than Dricus Du Plessis and the Riddler. He doesn't have the plot armor like they do, but he does have a little bit of plot armor though. Jiri Prochazka, let's not forget, man. People forget, man. Jiri Prochazka has not lost to anybody in the UFC that is not named Alex Pereira. Jiri Prochazka, you're telling me. So you're telling me Jiri Prochazka, the man with the imaginary friends, the man with the childhood ambitions, the man with the samurai spirit, is beating all these guys in the UFC except for Alex Pereira, bro. Come on, make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense. Jiri Prochazka, I love Jiri Prochazka, bro, but he needs to be studied. He needs to be studied. He's like a little kid, bro. This man's a little kid, just using his imagination out of there. Doesn't even train martial arts, I don't think. I just think he's out there with the samurai in the woods. This man goes to a cabin, locks himself in a cabin in the woods, pitch black dark for days, and just reflects on life, man. Jiri Prochazka, very wholesome creature. You know, like I said, I'm going to say it again. One of my favorite fighters. I want to see Jiri with the belt again, bro. That would make my year. But I don't think it's going to happen. But anyway, Jiri Prochazka needs to be studied. They got to study his brain. I think he has a little bit of autism, maybe some CTE in there. But there's something different, bro. They got to investigate the samurai spirit because that's a real thing. That is a real thing. The samurai spirit has led him to victories over Glover Teixeira, one of my favorite fights in UFC history. I don't know how Jiri pulled it off, but he did. It's led him to wins over Jamal Hill. He's knocked out Dominic Reyes fresh off a title fight, I think. Could be wrong on that. He's knocked out who? Volkan Ozdemir? People forget, man, Volkan Ozdemir doesn't just get knocked out like that, man. He's a crafty little vet. But yes, Jiri Prochazka needs to be investigated immediately, bro. Immediately. I don't think he's doing anything wrong. But something's off with the samurai spirits, bro. Something's off with his little imaginary. You know, maybe his imagination just runs wild. Maybe he's very big into manifestation. If you see it here, you can believe it in your heart. Let's go for that. I'm sorry, bro. I don't know what I'm doing at this point. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling, bro. Khamzat Chimaev, completely different reasons here, okay? Khamzat Chimaev going to be taking on Dricus Du Plessis. Dude, they got to test both of these fighters before they fight. Now, I don't want to get my hopes up for this fight because Khamzat Chimaev, he's been known to pull out of a fight or two when you get excited. So don't get your hopes up too much until they step foot in the octagon. Bruce Buffer is announcing their names. But if Khamzat Chimaev beats Dricus Du Plessis, he will finally reach his goal of becoming UFC champion. I don't know, bro. Khamzat Chimaev is supposed to be triple champ by now. This man is a generational talent. And like I said, this man needs to be studied for different reasons. Because Khamzat Chimaev, in my opinion, is the best grappler the UFC has ever seen. Yes, over your boy Khabib. I think Khabib is number 2. I think Khamzat Chimaev, pure grappling, is number 1. If Khamzat Chimaev goes out there and wins the world title in round 1, we need to start having some serious conversations, bro. I think that puts a stamp on Khamzat Chimaev being the most dangerous grappler ever and just being the best grappler ever. But there's a false narrative that goes around all the time with this man. Yes, Khamzat Chimaev does not have the best cardio. He's not on Merab Dvalishvili's level, obviously. But Khamzat Chimaev is not a one-and-done fighter, bro. That is not a real thing. That's not a real thing. That is a false narrative that gets overplayed time and time again. People, you know, many TikTok fans out there, that's going to be another video, by the way. Spoiler alert. But yeah, so many TikTok fans think that Khamzat Chimaev is pedal to the metal round 1, which is true. And then going into round 2, he's just gassed. That's not true. That's not true at all, bro. This man just goes out there pedal to the metal in round 1, and more times than not gets the finish. But if he doesn't, this man can go 3 rounds. We haven't seen him go 5, but he hasn't had to. Now, we've seen him go 3 rounds with Gilbert Burns. Absolute war, by the way. I'm under the impression, look, I don't mean to glaze here, but I'm under the impression Khamzat Chimaev could have easily won that fight, probably in round 1. But he wanted to stand. He wanted to brawl. He said he wanted to feel something. He said he wanted a real challenge, so he stood on the feet with Gilbert Burns, took some heavy shots. He stayed in there, and ultimately still got the job done without using his wrestling, bro. And then we can talk about the Kamaru Usman fight, which I get was on short notice. But Kamaru Usman arguably has the best takedown defense in UFC history. I think he was over 90% takedown defense. Khamzat Chimaev got him down to round 1. Couldn't finish the job, but he got him down, bro. Now, Khamzat Chimaev clearly won round 1. Didn't get the finish, but he dominated round 1. That fight ended up going all 3 rounds. And again, I'm not trying to cope. I'm not trying to glaze this man. But let's not forget. People forget, man. Khamzat Chimaev broke his hand in that fight and was still able to go 3 rounds. So he's not just fragile. He's not just this guy that can go 1 round. If he doesn't get the finish, he's done. Because that's what happened with Usman. He went pedal to the metal, couldn't get the finish in round 1, and he still won a decision. Now, I get that it's going to be different in a 5-round fight, especially with Dricus Du Plessis, but we got to see what happens, bro. We got to see what happens. But Khamzat Chimaev needs to be investigated, bro. His grappling, the best I've ever seen, but he's got some immune system problems, and I've heard people say that it's not even his immune system. I've heard some people say that his immune system sucks. I've heard some people say that it's because that he overtrains. Apparently, this is the hardest worker in the room, the hardest worker you'll ever see. I've heard that from multiple people. Apparently, he just overtrains, overworks himself, and he eventually gets sick. I don't know. So maybe we need to investigate this man's mentality as well. Kill everybody. You know how he is, bro. But this man doesn't just say that. He backs it up. So yeah, Khamzat Chimaev needs to be studied for different reasons than Dricus Du Plessis and Jiri Prochazka. This man needs to be studied based on his talent. This is the most skilled wrestler I've ever seen. But let's move on to the final one, Merab Dvalishvili. Merab Dvalishvili's gas tank, bro. His cardio is unlike anything we've ever seen, and it's not even close. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know anybody in the history of the earth that is taking a UFC fight and shooting 50 takedowns and going 5 rounds, bro. First of all, who can even shoot 50 takedowns without gassing out? Nobody. Literally nobody in the UFC can do that except for Merab Dvalishvili. At least that's the impression that I'm under right now. Merab Dvalishvili, pedal to the metal. This man in rounds 4 and 5 looks like he's in rounds 1 and 2. The other fighter will be gassed. Merab Dvalishvili looks like he just woke up, bro. He's ready to roll. He's ready to go run 20 miles right after his UFC fights. Apparently, that's what he does. Apparently, he just trains super hard. And then when all the other fighters in the gym are going home to eat and recover, Merab's going for a run. Maybe this is God-given. I don't know. Maybe it's a mix of God-given with the insane work ethic. Maybe a little bit of both. But either way, bro, how is it possible? How is the human body able to do this much? I don't know, bro. This man's gas tank needs to be studied. There's got to be something else there, bro. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. This man looks like he was built in a lab. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with the cardio like that, but hey, man, that's up for y'all's interpretation. I'm not trying to spread any false narratives, man. But Merab, we need to talk, buddy. Merab, what is going on? But that's going to be it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. These are 5 UFC fighters that I think need to be studied. Some for good reasons, some for maybe different reasons. But anyway, y'all let me know if y'all enjoyed the video. Y'all be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new. And guys, we just started live streaming on YouTube, over on Twitch, Casual Take MMA as well, and also on TikTok. Right now, our schedule is Tuesday and Thursdays at 8:30 Eastern, along with some Saturday fight companions for UFC events and sometimes on Sundays. So y'all be sure to turn the post notifications on and let you know when I go live, because we're going to be playing UFC 5 next week and hopefully hosting some live quizzes, live trivia games on live as well. But that's going to be it for me, guys. I appreciate you for tuning in. Let me know what type of content y'all want to see in the comments as well. But that's going to be it for me, and we out.